Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Diamond, your favorite social media manager, giving business owners tips on how to build their brands using influencer marketing. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about what to include in a campaign brief. So you may be thinking, Diamond, what is a campaign brief? A campaign brief is just a document that outlines the campaign. So it'll include anything from objectives, guidelines, expectations, and deliverables. It basically housed all the information that the influencer will ever need to know about the campaign in one document. Okay, and now you're saying, okay, Diamond, but like, why is that important, right? But a campaign brief is important because it sets a standard of what the influencer can expect when working with you. And so as you may know, I handle all the influencer marketing campaigns for my clients. So I am the point of contact for influencers, and trust me when I say that it makes a difference. It is small things like having a campaign brief ready to go that helps to establish a stronger relationship between your brand and the influencer, because now they recognize you as a brand who plans things out, who thinks ahead, who really values their time and doesn't want them to waste time combing through a bunch of emails. Another reason why campaign briefs are so important is because it cuts down on miscommunication. Like I said, if you and an influencer is emailing back and forth over a course of a week about terms and conditions for the campaign, something is bound to either get lost in translation or miscommunicated. They may not understand what you meant to say, or even if something was changed within that time frame, they may still go with the first thing that you said and not the second thing that you said that was buried in a long email. So you really owe it to not only the influencer, but yourself, your brand, your sanity, to have a campaign brief in order to decrease any types of miscommunication that can happen. Campaign briefs also help with timeliness. So as a brand, you should understand that there are a lot of moving parts when it comes to an influencer creating content. So having a campaign brief ensures that they understand this is when the content is due to be reviewed and this is when it's due to actually be posted. That way there is clear expectations of what you expect from the influencer, and they can now put this into their calendar to make sure that they have the content delivered to you on time. So I've gotten this question from previous clients who've asked me, when is a good time to use a campaign brief? And my response is every single time, okay? I do not care if you're just doing a gifting campaign, which if you actually want to learn more about a gifting campaign, I do have a video on that, so I'll leave it in the cards right here or in the description box below. But even if you are doing a simple gifting campaign where you're not actually paying the influencer in exchange for this content, you should still include a campaign brief, because again, it sets the tone for how they can expect to work with you for future paid partnerships. Sometimes I will send out the campaign brief in the initial reach out email. Sometimes I will wait until after the contract is signed. There's a lot of factors that go into why I would wait or just send it out. It depends on the influencer that I'm talking to, the type of campaign, and more importantly, the client that I have at the time. So just do what works for you in that sense of when you actually send it out, but have one and send it out with every single campaign you do. You will thank me later. Okay, so let's get into the good stuff. This is actually why you're here. What should I include in a campaign brief? Okay, so you want to include things like your brand goals and messaging. This helps the influencer understand what your brand is all about and why your customers love you. This is a section where you really need to showcase what makes you different in order for the influencer to truly get it and get excited about working with you in the partnership. The next thing that you want to include is a campaign overview. So this is the part where you include what the campaign is about. So is it focused on a specific product? Is there a specific message you want to convey to your audience or a new audience? And the type of campaign that it is. Are you doing a sponsored post? Are you doing a gifting campaign? Are you doing a product collaboration campaign? This is where you talk about everything that the campaign is about. Next comes the campaign details. This is where you get really specific and lay out everything. So there is no room for miscommunication or anything like that. This is where you lay out the social platform that the campaign will run on, the type of content, so the type of deliverables that are needed. Is it a reel? Is it a YouTube video? Is it a blog post? Anything like that. You also want to lay out any specific messaging that you want to be included. So what I mean by this is if your product has a certain ingredient that you want to highlight, you want to make sure that the influencer knows to highlight that ingredient. You're not giving them a script to say word for word, but if you want certain things to stand out in the campaign and be consistent across the board from all the influencers that you're using, this is the part where you put that in. Other things that can be included here is branded hashtags. So if you have a specific hashtag that you use for your brand and you want the influencer to use it too, put that here. Any specific call to action, so maybe you're sending their audience to a specific landing page or anything like that. So any specific call to actions and a deliverable time frame. So you want to make sure that, of course, that again, there's no miscommunication. It is clear on when the deliverables are expected to be delivered. Next, you want to include a mood board. Now this is just for inspo. You can include any previous content that you received from other influencers that show off the type of brand you are, the type of vibe that you have. You want to put that right here just to give them a little inspo, you know, spark their creativity. Next, you want to put some goals. So you want to, of course, put the purpose of the campaign. So is the purpose to drive sales? Do you want to increase your website traffic? Do you want to increase your engagement, your brand awareness? You want to put that here and make it clear so the influencer can take that in consideration when they're making their content. You also want to include the payment terms, so the rate that you both agreed on, the method of payment, and the dates that the payment will be made. And then lastly, you want to include some contact information. So who are they supposed to reach out to if they need answers or help with? You want to make that really clear, and you want to make the influencers feel like it is okay to come to you and ask you questions. You don't want to make them feel like if they have a question about something and they're not too sure, that you're just going to blow them off or get angry that they're asking you a question. It's actually really good that they're asking you questions and that they want to get the campaign right, you know? So I know that during the course of the campaign, I would just drop in and say, hey, I hope everything's going great with you. We are so appreciative of working with you. Thank you so much for taking the time out to collaborate with us on this project. If you have any questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. That's what I'm here for. I send out those messages periodically, and trust me, it is the little things like that that help to really build relationships with influencers beyond the campaign, and it helps to establish your brand as somebody who really truly values influencers and what they do. And you may be thinking that you have all this information in the contract, and most of this information you will have in the contract. You will have, you know, the time frame of the deliverables, the payment method, the contact information. You will. But like honestly, nobody wants to read through a 10-page contract, okay? Nobody wants that. Nobody's gonna do that if they don't have to, right? They're just not. So having a campaign brief that is just like a little slideshow that they can just, it's just easy on the eyes, it's easy on the brain to like want to actually look at it because it's really branded to your specific brand. Okay, so now that we know what to include in the campaign brief, we're gonna get into some high-level do's and don'ts. Because yes, this may seem like a very simple document to just throw together, but I have seen it done, you know, in some non-efficient ways. I just want to make sure that you are not overcomplicating it and making it something that influencers don't want to refer back to. So a do is that you want to keep it short, simple, and to the point. Yes, there is a lot of information that you want to include in it, but do not make those sections too long, you know? Make sure the information is in there in a concise and clear way, but don't overcomplicate it. Don't put too much information in there. Like I said, the contract is a long, stuffy document where you put in loads and loads of information. The campaign brief is something short and simple that influencers can refer to quickly when they need to. Another do is that you want to make it branded. So for me, when I first started working with a client on their influencer marketing campaigns, I will go in and create a templated campaign brief. It has their brand colors, their brand fonts, anything that will make it feel branded and that it's coming from you. I will go ahead and add all of that into there. And that's actually a pro tip. I didn't mention that, but that is what I do. I create a empty template of a campaign brief for each client. And so for each campaign, I can kind of just plug in the information that is needed for that campaign and that influencer. And it makes it so much easier than having to create the campaign brief over and over again. So make sure that you do that. And speaking of making it branded, you can take it a step further. And I've done this before. I've kind of customized it to the influencer. So of course I'll keep the client's brand colors and fonts and stuff. But if there's something specific about the influencer and their brand, I will kind of include that in the beginning of the campaign brief, just as a kind of, like appreciative nod to the influencer and their brand. So I work with an influencer whose dog was like a really big part of her brand. And so in the beginning pages of the campaign brief, I just included a little picture of her and her dog and just said, we're so excited to work with you guys. And that was just a cute little way of including the influencer in the campaign brief without being overly cheesy or something like that, Or at least I didn't think it was cheesy, and she didn't think so either, so. Okay, so let's talk about some don'ts. You do not want to write a script. You never want to take away an influencer's ability to create creative content, okay? You are working with the influencer because it is their job to be creative. It is their job to come up with concepts that they know their audience will love. They know their audience better than you do. So if they're making content and they say that their audience will like this, please go along with it and just don't put the influencers into a box. Nobody likes campaigns or content that is robotic and unrelatable. So another don't is that you do not want to criticize or bash other brands. There is a fine line between showcasing why your brand is so special and important, why people love you, and talking about why you are better than other brands. The golden rule of thumb is to focus on your brand and your brand only, what makes your brand special. Don't bring up other brands and why you're better than them, why you're standing out in this competitive market like that. It comes across sleazy and it's just not a good look, So I hope that this helped you understand the importance of having a campaign brief. It gave you a good outline on what that actually is, and it inspired you to make your own. And that's it for this video. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye!